Hey guys, happy Sunday afternoon. It's Sandy with Urban Rebel Designs in Aztec, New Mexico. Today we are going to be finishing up this beautiful French provincial dresser. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do today is we're doing the top coat on the poured top that we did last week. I'm going to quickly run through the products that I used on this. I used all Dixie Belle paint in Sawmill Gravy, Caviar, Silver Bullet, and the Gulf. First we started with spraying a coat of Slick Stick, let it sit for an hour, then sprayed another coat, let it sit overnight, came back in. I sprayed the whole thing in a base coat of Sawmill Gravy. Then we worked on the drawers, which I'll lower you down in just a minute and you can see the whole thing. We worked on the drawers and doing the hardware. We did the hardware in the Gulf with some silver gilding wax. We did stripes on the sides in Sawmill Gravy and Caviar, and did some Would You Bend medallions in the Gulf with the silver gilding wax as well. Today we're finishing up the top. I've already sprayed the top coat. I used gator hide on the body. I did a coat of gator hide spray on the top, but I want it to be really shiny. So I'm going to go through really quick how I came up with what I'm going to be using for my top coat. I have to ask myself when I'm deciding on top coats, how is the piece going to be used? And in this case, I don't know. And where is it going to be used? And in this case, I don't know. So that tells me that I need some pretty good protection on it. And for protection, I really like gator hide. The issue was then from the design aspect, I wanted a super high gloss finish on top. So I could have gone with resin, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm down in my paint booth and today is my day off, and I did not want to spend hours down here watching for bubbles and watching for drips and then having to sand the edge when I was finished. Cure time would have been an issue because the type of tabletop resin that I use takes 1 to 2 hours to set enough that you can then walk away from it. So the next thing was an oil-based top coat, a varnish, a shellac, a polyurethane. We all know that those have the tendency to turn yellow, so I had the option of mixing an oil-based top coat half and half with mineral spirits and then hope for the best. Well, since this is a piece that I'm going to be selling, I didn't want to do that. So I decided to go with a water-based high gloss. This is called a polyurethane. I believe, I could be wrong and you can correct me, that it's actually a polyacrylic, but it is a crystal clear high gloss. And that's what we're going to use to finish the top. I will probably do 3 coats of this on top of the 1 coat of gator hide that I've already sprayed. And because I don't want to spray this, because I don't want to go to the trouble of wrapping the entire body in plastic to protect it, hi Sally Joe, I'm just going to use my sponge wrapped in a pantyhose. And I'm going to set this to the side. This, when it's cured, will give us the protection that we want and the water resistance that we want. So I demonstrated this a little bit yesterday, and actually let me lower you down so you can see the whole piece. Maybe. I am not technically inclined, especially today. Okay, so you're going to miss me, but you're going to see the whole piece. Let me get this wrapped up again. This is a knee-high, and I've just put my sponge down in it. I'm going to try to get rid of that seam so I don't have to contend with it. And then these are just the little yellow synthetic silk sponges that I always use. So I'm gonna just barely dip my sponge into my top coat, and you can see how it's dripping. So I'm gonna wipe it off the side, and I'm gonna squeeze it to make sure that I don't have too much. I like to do super thin coats of any top coat that I do. I would rather do multiple coats and do them thin and make sure that I have really good coverage than to do one really thick coat and run into issues. So all I'm doing is back and forth, nice long strokes. Nothing irritates me more than to see somebody paint or top coat doing this, because when it dries, you're going to see it. So I like to take the time, if I put paint on or top coat on like that, then I always go back and do one long finishing stroke so that it doesn't look like I've used a magic marker on my piece. And this will take me just a couple of minutes to get this done, and we'll do the edges. I will let it dry completely, and then I'll do my next coat, and I will probably do my next coat lengthwise. And what that does is that helps to make sure if there are any thin spots that you've got them covered and you've got them filled in. So I want to make sure that everybody has their tickets for the Bells and Bow Tour, and if you don't, it's the perfect thing to tell Santa that you want. There are now 9 instructors scheduled, so it's pretty exciting. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to have to get down in the light, so if you see me getting down trying to see this, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm doing a good even coat across the entire piece. This will be a really short live today. Right there I had a little bit puddle up, so I went back and smoothed that out. And top coats really are just this simple. I've got some puddling down here. I like to always keep an eye on where I'm going. Now, with your first pass of the top coat, you're always going to have a few spots that you miss. That's okay. You're going to get them with your second coat. And when this is dry, it will be ready to post online, put out on the sales floor, and find its new home. I need a name for this piece. So if you have a suggestion, let me know. And once I get this finished, I'm going to go around and get the edges. And I like to do that in one smooth motion as well. So let me see if I can get you down here enough. This is a high gloss water-based. They call it a polyurethane. Let me set this down and see if I can get you down here so you can see the shine a little bit. I may have to take you off your stand. So here we go. You can see a little bit of the shine. It will be a lot shinier when I get the second and possibly third, maybe even a fourth coat on. But I also wanted to cover cure time. You've heard me preach cure time versus dry time. On this particular piece, I will start the calendar for my cure time when I do my last coat. So it will be 30 days from today. Because I poured the top and the paint is a little bit thicker, when I sell this and it goes to its new home, I will let them know that it's going to need the full 30-day cure time just to be safe. And that easily, we got the first layer of top coat on. I'll give it about 10 minutes, come back and do my second coat, and we'll see if it needs a third. and it will be finished. But I really appreciate everybody joining me on this journey of getting this piece transformed. I've wanted to do a French provincial piece for several years. I'm going to pop you back up. Don't let me make you dizzy. That way you can see me. Hi, Carrie. Okay. So we've got this finished. I will back this off a little bit. Pardon my paint booth. It's a paint booth. And you can see the finished product. And I will post pictures when I get all of my layers of top coat done. We'll see where I have to go here. I want you to see the beautiful Would You Bend medallions. That was created with 2 pieces of the same pattern of Would You Bend, and I just turned one of them upside down and created my own custom medallion. And I have to tell you, I am so in love with this piece. It's going to be hard to let it go. Again, if you have a suggestion for a name for it, don't hesitate to let me know, because I'm having a hard time naming this one. And I am scheduled to be back on the Chalk Paint 101 page Saturday, which is Small Business Saturday, at 4 o'clock Eastern. So we will see you then. Thanks for joining me. Have a great Sunday.